those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Fuller. This is my week in terms of the Professional Development Week. I teach here in our business department, obviously, primarily courses that relate to sport management. This week we're going to be looking at running an effective meeting management. Hopefully you all received an email from me probably on Sunday, giving you an idea of what's going to be going on in terms of the assignments and journal prompts. Just want to touch base on that first and foremost to make sure that we're all on the same page. So if you go to Blackboard, under the Assignments tab, you'll see Week 5. You should see Week 5 Meeting Management. There was a reading for this week in terms of Chapter 10 in your book. And then also, this is one of the weeks that you do have an assignment. And this assignment is in conjunction for what you had last week with Professor Stolberg. So Professor Stolberg assigned you guys to attend a meeting, correct? Okay. So in conjunction with that, after you attend the meeting, you're just going to do a brief evaluation of the meeting. And here's the evaluation rubric. We're going to evaluate the meeting on 10 points. And it's basically the Likert type scale, strongly agree to strongly disagree. So where the objectives of the meeting clearly defined, was a detailed agenda or agenda provided, things of that nature. So this is up on Blackboard, and like all your assignments, you're going to place this in your e-portfolio. Okay? Are we all square with that? We'll make sure. Any questions on that one? And then in terms of your journal prompt, there's 3 points to write on for this week. We're going to look at the first one today, but first, what are the pros and cons that you believe exist for holding a meeting or for having a meeting? Second, page 138 and 139 of your textbook lists a couple ground rules. Discuss those in terms of what are your thoughts on those, and then finally, what do you think can be done to improve the effectiveness of meetings? Any questions regarding that? Okay. Also, the sign-in sheet is going around. Where is that? All right. Definitely want to make sure you sign in so you get credit. If you don't do it, if it's already passed you, there'll be time at the end of class. So, in terms of effective meeting management, what we really want to accomplish today is twofold. We want to look at how to run an effective meeting if we're in that position. Potentially, maybe some of you guys are officers in various clubs and organizations around campus, and you host or have various meetings. So what are some ways in which we can run an effective meeting? And then as you get off into your careers, especially early on, you're going to be participants in meetings. So how can we be effective participants in meetings? Okay? Those are our goals for today. That's what we want to accomplish. And to do that, first we're going to break up into small groups. And within our small groups, we're going to answer or start to think about a couple questions. So listen, all right, comprehend in terms of these questions. First one is, what's the purpose of even having a meeting? So why do we even have meetings within business or outside of business? And then after that, discuss what are the pros and cons of having a meeting. And that's going to get you starting to think about your first journal prompt. Okay? So what's the purpose or the reasons for having a meeting? And then what are some pros and cons? We're going to take a couple minutes to do that. And rather than just talking about running a meeting, I'm of the persuasion where actually putting ourselves in a situation or being able to look at one and evaluate that might be a little bit better in terms of running or learning how to run and be a participant of an effective meeting. So we're going to need 9 participants, 9 volunteers to be part of the impromptu meeting we're going to have. Sorry, not 9, 11. So is anybody willing to be a thespian? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. If you're willing to be 11, just come up. And then everybody else, go ahead and break into your small groups. Take about 5 minutes. Again, we're discussing the reasons for a meeting, the pros and cons of the meeting. Take about 5 minutes, and then we're going to debrief as a larger group. I have, I think, 4 volunteers, still need about 5, 6, 7 more. So you guys are off into your small groups. Thank you. Still need 5 more people willing to participate. So is this still filming? It's probably filming me talking right now. It's fine, it's going to be a lot of shot.
It's fine. We could trim it out for you.
What's that?
We could trim it out for you.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So what's going to happen, just we're going to debrief as a larger group. All right, and then after we debrief, they're going to come in and do a little role playing. So that's what the action will be. But the crowd will also try to guess kind of what person that they're portraying. So action will be there, and they'll be talking, but there's going to eventually be some feedback from the larger group. So I don't know how that will work. You would probably just get the audio. I'll make sure to tell people to speak up. You might just get the audio, not so much the actual person talking. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's take about 2 more minutes or so, and then we'll come back together as a larger group. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? All right, so I asked you guys to consider three things. The first was why do we have meetings, or what's the purpose of having meetings? And then starting to begin to think about potential pros and cons of having a meeting or being part of a meeting. So, what did you guys say? Let's hear what you have to say. In terms of the first question, what's the purpose or the reason behind having meetings? Yes, ma'am.
Decision making.
Okay, so potential, yeah, there's some decision that needs to be made, coming together, making that decision. Yes, ma'am.
Stay updated.
Okay. Good way to disseminate information, stay updated. Yes, sir.
If there's a problem in the company.
Okay, if there's a problem, way to address it, potentially on a group basis, not necessarily, going individual. All right, any other thoughts? Yes, sir. Well, we'll go here and then we'll go back to you. No, it's fine.
You get immediate feedback.
Okay, immediate feedback. Last one. Okay, keep people updated. Sure, all reasons. All right. What about our pros and cons? What did you guys discuss in terms of pros and cons? Let's hear somebody from this side of the room.
I'll go. A con would be that it's a waste of time.
Okay, it's a waste of time. Why is it a waste of time?
Because there's a lot of meetings that aren't necessary or productive.
Okay, so if it's a not productive meeting, potentially be a waste of time. Underlying assumption you could be doing something better with that time, more productive. Okay? Yes, sir.
For our company, we have the travel board.
Sure, 1 second. We have, if you guys have been here, you know we have the audio going, or the video going, so for our online students, for them to be able to hear what everybody's saying, if you guys wouldn't mind keeping that chatter to a minimum, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, sir?
For larger companies, many people have to travel to get to sites for meetings.
Okay, so the ability or inability potentially to get to a meeting, we have seen rise in remote type meetings, go to meeting and those things like that. Yes, ma'am.
People tend to get off track during meetings.
People get off track, not staying on topic, which obviously lengthens the meeting. Any others? Yes, ma'am.
Not everybody will agree.
Not everybody will agree. All right, you guys have been listening a bunch of, and sometimes that's not bad. You don't want everybody to agree all the time. I think you know that's called groupthink. Having some kind of discussion and back and forth tends to bring out some ideas. But you guys have been listing cons. What are some pros? Yes, ma'am.
Could be educating.
What's that?
Could be educating.
Could potentially be educating, going back to that information dissemination. Yes, ma'am.
Decisions are made.
Okay, decisions being made. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Way outside the box, group bonding. Group bonding.
Okay, potentially getting people together to bond on a level that might make them more effective. Yes, sir.
Face-to-face communication as opposed to like email.
All right, you get face-to-face communication. Sometimes things can get lost in translation. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but you might text somebody or you get a message on Facebook or something like that, or an email, and you don't know if it's sarcasm, you don't know if the person's being serious. Without what they call the emoticons, you may not know that. So, yes, sir.
Sometimes conference calls can be more effective than a physical meeting.
Okay.
As compared to like a big actual meeting.
All right, sure. So all those things, and that's one of the prompts that you guys have in terms of your journaling. I want to go ahead and get you started to think about that. So what's going to happen next is we have a group who's coming in and they're doing a little role playing. And they've been asked, they've put together a meeting. I don't know what the meeting is about. All right, so it's impromptu. They're having a meeting, and one person is the person who's leading the meeting, and each other person is some kind of character, if you will. Somebody who might be exhibiting some problem or ineffective behavior as it relates to the meeting. What I'm going to ask you guys to do after they finish is to kind of guess what role each person was playing. That's somebody that you do not want to be when you're a participant in the meeting. And then just give a couple of ideas of how the person who's leading the meeting can effectively manage that type of behavior. Does that make sense? So they're going to come in, they're going to do their little skit, their little role play. you're gonna guess, okay, this person was supposed to represent this person was supposed to represent that. We don't want to be that. We're participants in the meeting. And then now, as somebody who's leading the meeting, how can we effectively manage this type of behavior? All right? So let's see if they're ready. So again, in terms of audio, let's make sure that we're quiet enough so the audio can pick it up. Hey, it's your meeting. Here's the ball.
Alright guys, thanks for coming to the meeting today. I'm glad that the majority of you showed up. There's some people missing, but I will deal with that later. We're going to be talking about the meeting today. Can you just put that down just a second? Just for a second. Why don't you just put on silence? Thanks, I appreciate that. Now, we're here to talk about homecoming dance and a couple of aspects that come along with it. First thing I want to hit on
We're putting on a dance?
yeah,
Are you kidding me?
we
A
talked about
dance?
this already.
We're at Alfred State College. Who goes to
Chris,
dances?
let me just finish for a second. Let me say what I have to say, and I will open it up for everybody else to bring in their opinions. I really need your guys' input on this. Now, for the dance, and yes, we were putting on a dance, we need a location. Now, I was thinking about the location being at the gym. Do you guys have any other?
Gym is a good idea.
No, it's a horrible idea.
The gym is like a really wonderful location because like it's so open.
Okay.
Hey, did anybody else bother with Wi-Fi?
No, the gym has to work. No, the gym has to work.
All right, hold on a second. Let's.
Wi-Fi, hello.
Yes. Our Wi-Fi is turned off for the meeting today, so calm down and let's concentrate. Now, why was it a bad idea for the gym?
The gym is cliche. You gotta do something
No, it
else.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, but dude, come on. It's like the biggest place on campus.
You guys have,
It won't work.
No, it doesn't.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late.
Well,
What's
just-
your guess? Sorry I'm late. What did I miss?
yeah, you kind of missed the beginning of
Something
the
about
meeting.
dancing.
I prefer you make it to the meetings on time this time.
It won't
It's
happen
really
again.
important. Please, I'm
It
going
won't
to
happen
happen
again.
Dude, you do it every time. Are you kidding me? You're late every time.
I'm sad to. You're like,
I think it doesn't matter. What really matters is the gymnasium. Because
Okay.
we can put streamers in there.
That's a good
I love
idea.
streamers. What color streamers should we get? Oh, we should put blue streamers.
So wait, what?
All right.
You know what? I've got to be early anyway. Fill me in.
No, wait, you stay right
gotta
there.
Go. I've got to go.
I'm talking to you right
Fill
after
me
the
in.
meeting.
Fill me in. Thank you.
how you gonna dance with treadmills?
Treadmills? Where do you get
Gym.
treadmills from?
Gym?
The gymnasium, not the gym as in workout. And like I
been
said,
hard.
put your phone away, please.
It's already been
Did you get your new?
No, okay, come on. If we're gonna have a dance, it's gotta be in the gym. It's the only biggest place there is.
All right, so do we agree on the gym?
Come on, dude.
The gym is
Raise your hand if we agree on the gym.
Hey, Mom.
We have 3.
I don't really care what we have. I just want to dance.
Now we're in a meeting. Dance.
Donuts.
All right. Phone off. We're in the middle of a meeting. Off. Off. Thank you.
Where's the donuts?
Love you.
The donuts are over there on the table. Where have you
Someone ate
been?
them all.
What?
There's no donuts. Someone ate all the donuts.
I think we should talk about streamers.
I didn't see your name on it.
We got coffee over there. We're not here for donuts. We're here for a meeting. All right. Decision made. Gym. The gym it is for the location. Now,
Still a bad idea. I'm on the correct page again.
well, you know what? I'm overriding. So far, the majority just said gym. So we're gonna do gym. Let's move on.
Can we talk about blue streamers?
Yes.
The streamers are
Blue or
good.
yellow or both?
We will get to the party decorations in a second.
Donuts.
You like blue streamers? I will.
Can you stop? Seriously? Come on, dude. We're trying to talk here.
Donuts.
All right, on to the next topic. What food are we gonna have over there in the dance in the gymnasium?
Twinkies!
Donuts.
Nachos are superior. Yes, nachos. What flavor nachos? All the nachos. Guacamole?
No, it's
all
Mexican.
nachos. Otherwise it won't be perfect.
Okay, do you want to stick to the theme then, like Mexican theme?
I love Mexican things, but then there's other things too. We could do rage theme, we could do disco theme, we could do.
Really?
We're talking about food.
Like the
We're
latest
talking about
thing
food.
ever.
Too specific.
Donuts.
Too specific.
Donuts.
Too specific.
Okay, let's try to keep this on an adult level here. We're in the middle of a meeting.
Are you calling me a kid?
Quiet. I'm not talking to you, Chris, I'm talking to him.
Okay,
Stop
I
being
saw you
so
looking at me.
argumentative.
I saw you looking at me.
I was looking down at you.
at the gym.
What's that?
We're having it at the gym, right?
Yeah, we're having it at the
Really
gym.
should.
Yes, now we're on
We're
the
having
topic.
pink and blue, right?
No, we're having the topic on food now. We already
Food.
decided location.
Donuts and Twinkies. A good idea.
Donuts and donuts.
Soda.
Oh.
I would,
So what the answer we're going for, we're gonna have donuts and Twinkies,
thank
really.
you.
Sugar plum.
You really want people
Sugar
puking all
plum
over the
dance.
floor?
Yeah, I don't think that's really in a we can
Don't
probably have
forget
that on the
Casey gets to
side.
try the donuts.
Our theme should be Paris and blue.
We should invite Natalia in.
Yes.
This is the
We
fall
have,
holiday.
we have flowers everywhere. It would be perfect.
Flowers?
Donuts and croissants.
All right, we need to chill out for a second. One thing at a time. Who wants to volunteer
Yeah, still
for
this meeting.
being in charge of food? Anybody wants to take up the responsibility for that?
I don't, but I think we should have.
Yes, man does.
Really should.
Nose guys.
Yeah,
You
really.
wanna
Sounds like
take-
a good idea.
Yeah, okay, you are in charge of the food. Fine.
We will get over
Jim,
forgetting.
he's in charge of that. When you figure out what type of
What
food you
ideas
want
do
to
you
go
have?
for,
What
you
food
come to
should we
me
do?
about that.
What are your ideas?
Nachos.
Donuts and croissants.
That's a good
And
idea.
donuts
That's
and
awesome.
pretzels and popcorn.
All that,
And
yeah.
pizza. What kind of pizza though? Pepperoni, you know.
It's gonna be kind of hard to
This
fit
is also
into
nice, you know, it's greasy.
Hey, if Paris is looking for a drink.
Spaghetti. So what is that? Because I really think Paris and blue.
tell it to the dance.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
Paris.
doesn't that dictate what
I would speak French.
Not necessarily.
Wait. You want the theme to be Paris in blue?
in bloom?
In
Flowers.
bloom.
Yes, flowers.
Paris in bloom. Can we talk about how lame that sounds right now?
Well, you're lame.
So the theme already sucks.
Alright, I think the problem with that is going to be we have a lit audience, and I don't think the males are going to be very.
I need to go find a
They're
charger.
being dragged there
Very
by their
separate.
girlfriends. I mean, it doesn't matter what they do. Clearly,
Don't come back.
superior.
Don't come back. Don't come back.
You got me, you know.
Alright. Get back on track. I haven't heard anything from you. Do you have any suggestions to add to this?
You really like Paris and blue, don't you?
Theme sucks.
Alright,
Thank
we're
you.
gonna have to talk about the theme at a later meeting because there's a lot of different opposing ideas.
Does there have to be a theme? Can't we just have fun if we're gonna have a stupid dance?
Party!
Without
It
the
needs to be a
gym.
little bit more organized than that. So what I propose is since you guys have a lot of ideas, I want you guys to just write out your ideas. It seems like you can't put this together. Give it to me, and then on the next meeting, I will narrow it down, what I think are the best choices, and then we will.
Well, I'm sorry you guys can't think of good ideas.
All right.
Is the meeting still going on? Let's give our actors and actresses. So what they've been instructed or asked to do, they being the crowd, is to, that's could I just stand here, identify what each person or who each person is portraying in terms of behavior, and then ways in which the manager or the leader can manage that behavior more effectively. So first off, we'll start with these, who's our leader? Who's leading the meeting? Okay, so we have that down. Now let's start at the end of the room, just work our way down in terms of what behavior or what was each person kind of portraying. So we'll start down here. What's your name?
I'm Chris.
Chris, how you doing? What do you think Chris, or who Chris was portraying? Okay, speaking out of turn. What did I hear back there? Overly opinionated, confrontational.
Distractions.
What were you trying to portray?
I was the arguer. Says, you talking to me, bro? You live to stir up trouble at the meetings and disagree with everyone who's, with whatever anyone says. Boundaries, you need boundaries, all attacks are fair game.
Okay, so he was first somebody who's argumentative, potentially throwing out attacks at individuals. What can be done to manage this type of behavior? If you're somebody who's leading a meeting. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, potentially call the order to the meeting. Anything else to rein them in? Yes, ma'am.
The person hosting the meeting should get around to by allowing meetings to continue while everybody's getting all crazy.
Say that again.
The person that was hosting the meeting did wrong by continuing the meeting while people kept doing their own thing.
Okay,
You know?
so kind of nip it in the bud type,
Yeah.
type back. Okay, sure. All right.
There should be positions all throughout the meeting of people that, a person that keeps order, and different people that have their own things to talk about, so that there's actually a single order, and there's someone else that keeps order.
Sure, you have those sometimes called parliamentarians in terms of people who are going to keep the order. So we'll move on. Actress number 2.
All over the place.
Energetic, all over the place, off topic. Any other thoughts? Art animal. Is that art imitating life? Or no? Any other thoughts? Who are you portraying?
I was the wanderer, so whatever the topic is for the meeting, you're not on it. You talk about everything except what you're supposed to be talking about. Following rabbit trails is one of your favorite activities.
Okay, so you have somebody, and again, these are behaviors that if you are a participant in a meeting, you probably do not want to portray if you're trying to have an effective meeting. But if you're in a position where you're leading the meeting, what might be done to rein in somebody who's wandering all the time? Medicine?
I think have an agenda.
Okay, have an agenda. Obviously, you probably want to send that agenda out beforehand so everybody knows what's going on and what to expect. And if you have a person who's yes, sir, Chris.
I was going to say, like, as soon as somebody gets off topic, stop and regroup and then keep talking.
Okay. Hey, you bring them back in. There's something that's often called the parking lot in terms of it's maybe a topic that's not imperative to that meeting, but you kind of push it off to some later meeting. So you make the person feel like their opinion are valued. Hey, that's a good idea, but perhaps we can discuss it at a future date or a later date. Thank you. So, actress number 3. What's your name?
Marissa.
Marissa, how you doing? All right. What was Marissa portraying? Sleeper, tired. Anything else?
Being passive.
Passive. Marissa, what were you trying to portray?
I was the board guy.
Okay, Marissa was the bored girl. What might one do when leading a meeting to engage somebody who's bored?
Ask them personally their opinion.
Ask them a direct question. Any others?
Same thing, ask your opinion.
Okay.
What do you?
Sure. Asking them to get them involved, potentially assigning them a task, maybe taking the notes or taking the minutes for the meeting. All good ways. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yes, ma'am. Okay. What was your name? Ariel. Okay. What was Ariel working with?
Overly enthusiastic.
Ariel's overly enthusiastic. Any other thoughts? What's that? Yes, sir.
Like the yes man?
A yes person? Yes woman? What were you, or who are you, Ariel?
I was the talker. I dominate the meeting.
Okay, so somebody who tends to be talkative and dominate the meeting, drowning out the voices and the thoughts and the opinions of everybody else. What might our leader have done to rein the talker in? A muzzle? I don't know if that's going to quite fly. figuratively, or literally, I mean. Okay. Try to ask to hear other people's opinions. Anything else? Sure, I think that's a good one. You know, great ideas. Let's hear what other people have to think about it. We have our leader, who is Tiffany, our leader. Okay. And Andrew. What kind of behavior did Andrew exhibit?
Non-existent.
Non-existent, late, uncaring. More important things to do. Andrew, what were you at
Last
now?
in, first out. Sorry I'm late, it won't happen again. Oh, by the way, I've got somewhere else to be.
Okay, so somebody who doesn't show up on time or potentially leaves early, or in Andrew's case, both. All right. What might we do to address somebody who's always showing up late, always showing up or leaving early?
Tell them to be there like 45 minutes prior to.
Okay.
Give them a strike.
Give them a strike.
Yes.
What happens if they get 3 strikes?
They're out.
Out of what? The job.
No, they're like on probation or something.
Okay. So some sort of disciplinary measure. Okay, sure. If you are going to be late, what should you do?
Stay in advance.
Yeah. If you're going to be late, same thing in terms of your classes. If you're going to be late, you let somebody know in advance. If you're going to leave early or need to leave early, you let people know in advance. All right. Nick. All right. Who is Nick? Negative, no man. Devil's advocate. Nick, who are you?
I was the pessimist.
Okay. Nick was the pessimist. Shooting people's ideas down, not giving it a chance. What might Tiffany, right?
Yeah.
What might Tiffany have done to rein in Nick's pessimism?
Ask him what he thinks,
Ask him what he thinks.
or why he thinks they are bad ideas.
Okay.
Including his legitimate reasons.
What are his ideas?
Ask what are his ideas. Put him on the spot, see if he actually has one.
I'll come up with a better one.
Okay. I'm gonna come up with a better one. Bob. Yes, ma'am.
I think that he was the optimist.
Okay, the optimist, or yes man. Bob, who are you?
I was the yes man.
Bob was the yes man. All right. Are there any problems with a yes man or a yes woman?
Yeah.
And what are the problems?
Maybe be the worst idea in the world and this would agree.
Okay, potentially be not the best idea for your business or your company or your organization, but the person still agrees. Like we were saying at the beginning, getting into that group thing where everybody's just agreeing and, you know, rah-rah and every single thing that's said can sometimes be ineffective and lead to some bad outcomes. So we want to be mindful of that. A couple more. Brent. Okay, what was Brent?
The quiet one.
Shy, quiet. Okay, Brent's the quiet one. All right. What might Tiffany have done to get Brent a little bit more talkative? Ask questions, ask him what he thinks, ask participation, sure. All right, 2 more. Greg. Greg was a prankster. Any other thoughts? Hungry? I'm always hungry. Twinkie guy. Clown. Noisemaker. Greg. Or not, I'm sorry, Greg.
I was a busybody.
Okay, Greg was somebody who's a busybody. What, can't sit still. What might Tiffany have done? Duct tape, walk into a chair. What's some things she really could do, potentially? We're almost done. Just bear with us. Any thoughts? This side of the room, thoughts? Ask him to leave. Good. You might need to be there. Okay. Okay, so give him a task where he's engaged. Sure. All right, our last person. Angelo.
The cell phone user.
Cell phone guy. All right. So I'm playing away on his cell phone.
Didn't want to be there.
What might we do if we see somebody on a cell phone?
Throw it out the window.
Throw it out the window if you're Professor Grillo. What else might we do?
Ask them to put it away. Ask them to put it away.
Ask them to put it away.
Separate things. You should have rules for your meetings, like when someone says no food, no drink.
So setting expectations beforehand in terms of proper, if you want to call it behavior, proper conduct, in terms of being a participant in a meeting, and letting know, one thing is your cell phones, iPads, everything, putting those away. So let's give them one more round of applause, please. Thank you, ladies and gents. Appreciate it. You can give us a souvenir. All right.
You want your papers back?
Oh, souvenir. Souvenir. When you make it big in Hollywood, just remember who gave you your start. All right? So with that, hopefully just this little exercise kind of gave us a sneak peek or a peer into a meeting from both sides, being a participant and also leading behaviors that we do not want to exhibit as members or participants in the meeting, and then ways in which, as leaders, we can try to run a more effective meeting. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
These that you want to put on the e-portfolio, we just do a little handwriting, then scan them and upload them?
Good question. So, you mind if I commandeer that? Thanks. So, he's asking about your meeting evaluation, the assignment for this week. That's in conjunction with the meeting that Professor Stolberg assigned to you. And the question was, do you write it in, circle it or whatever, and scan it in, and then you put it in the e-portfolio? You can do it that way if you want to highlight the number using Word or any type of highlighting software, that's fine. It's kind of up to you in terms of what you're most comfortable with, but by hook or crook, it should be filled out, completed in your e-portfolio.